Hey guys, it's Sam or Sammy Genius here, and welcome to another PlayStation list. Today we're going to be doing just my top 10 PlayStation 4 exclusives. This is 100% opinionated. This is not necessarily the best 10 games or the 10 highest reviewed, but it's just my 10 favorite. If the game was ported later to PC or Xbox or something like that, it could still appear on this list as long as it debuted as a PlayStation 4 exclusive. Last week I did 5 games that I thought were underrated on the PS4, so I thought I might as well do a little bit more of an opinionated one for you guys to kind of get to know my taste of games. So let's go ahead and get started with number 10, which is going to be Tetris Effect, the only game I have on this list that I don't own physically. So right off the bat, this is one of those games that debuted on PS4 and was later ported to PC. Tetris Effect is basically your classic Tetris gameplay, but just a lot more stylized, a lot more thematic. There is, your basic Tetris mode, but there's also other modes as well. The developers of this game, who are Monstars and Resner, I believe, really did a great job in creating an experience. Instead of like just playing same old Tetris, you're actually getting a really almost like sensual experience out of this game. You can play this game in VR as well. I never have, but just from what I've seen and what I've heard, it appears to be like one of the best PSVR games you could probably play. And as I was getting ready to record this, I actually saw the news of the Xbox conference or game show or whatever, and it turns out there's actually a multiplayer mode being added to Tetris Effect. I thought that should have been in the game to begin with, but nevertheless it's coming. And it's actually coming first to Xbox on holiday 2020. It's called Tetris Effect Connected, and then it's coming later to PS4 on summer 2021. It's kind of weird that a PS4 exclusive ends up getting a multiplayer mode for Xbox One first, but that's fine, I guess. Also, if you didn't know, Tetris is like the 3rd highest rated game of all time, which is pretty crazy. Moving on to number 9 though, is a game you guys actually saw me play on the channel, is Detroit Become Human. Well, if you guys didn't know, that is the only game I played to completion on the channel. I will link the playlist to that in the description below. I had to get a little self-plug in. So I did really enjoy the game. I absolutely love choice-based games in general, especially the Quantic Dream games. I know David Cage, who is the head developer at Quantic Dream, does get a little bit of hate for his, I don't want to say bad writing, but he could get kind of cheesy with it occasionally. But nevertheless, I do enjoy his games. This is the 3rd Quantic Dream game after Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls. I do prefer Heavy Rain more to this game, but I still enjoy Detroit. I think the themes are a little bit too easy to kind of discern at the beginning of the game. About 15 minutes in the game, really when you took control of Marcus, you kind of tell the game was going to be about sort of a message of equality for androids. So nevertheless, I still think the themes were done pretty well, despite, being a little too easy to recognize. The 3 main characters, Kara, Connor, and Marcus, were all executed perfectly. I love how they had different roles. They didn't all feel samey. You had Kara, who was kind of the motherly caretaker. You had Marcus, who was just a civil rights leader. You had Connor, who I think had the best story. He was kind of the agent of justice who had his morals kind of challenged, and he ended up flipping, well, based on your decisions, he could end up joining the revolution with the androids. All 3 storylines also have just fantastic side characters. You have Hank, you have Alice, you have North, ton of other awesome characters. The game, even down to the little details, like the little blue highlight, the little pop-ups that show up when you have a little input to press, everything just looks so amazing to me. That's number 9. Number 8, we have Uncharted 4. I don't think I have to say really too much about this one. You guys have all played it. This is the most recent Nathan Drake adventure out of his 5. Yes, 5. I didn't forget Golden Abyss on the Vita. I actually own that game somewhere. I really appreciated how there wasn't the really kind of shoehorned, kind of contrived supernatural elements at the end. I enjoyed that Naughty Dog kind of took it in a more grounded, emotional tale, kind of more character driven in this game. Really well done to end Drake's career as a thief. The side characters are, in my opinion, better than they've ever been. Elena was really good. You had Nadine and Sam Drake. All gave excellent performances. One thing I really want to share that I just really believe in is that Rafe is actually the best Uncharted villain, at least for Nathan Drake. And that's because he is not just your kind of generic power-hungry villain like the last 3. I think Rafe is basically the perfect foil to Drake. I think he had a lot of stuff handed to him, and he's still not happy with where he is and with who he is. And I think that he would deep down really rather be Nate instead of himself, even though Nate didn't grow up with a fraction of what Rafe had. Number 7 is going to be Horizon Zero Dawn. Now, Horizon is just a game that just kind of had to grow on me. I kind of wrote it off as just another like photorealistic game, another kind of generic story game. While I still kind of feel that way, I just, kind of had I've grown a new appreciation for the game, especially the enemies. Just the more I play and the more I look at the game, I just really like the way that the enemies are designed. I love the variation with them. I love how intricate they are, how they all have, you know, different nuances, different behaviors, different ways to take them down. So I think the enemies are what really push Horizon above really any other game for me. Sorry, what I mean to say is that the enemies are better than any enemies in any other PS4 game. That is number 7. Number 6, we have Yakuza 6. Now, if you didn't watch my 5 underrated PS4 games I think you should play, I did have Yakuza 0 on there. And Yakuza 6 does have some similar elements to Yakuza 0 in terms of gameplay. Even though Yakuza 0, it actually does have better combat, but nevertheless, Yakuza 6's combat I actually prefer, even though it's not as deep as Yakuza 0's. Like Uncharted 4, Yakuza 6 is the end to another legendary character story. Yakuza 6 is the last entry to feature Kazuma Kiryu. Yakuza 7 actually does have a different protagonist, if you don't know that. And this game is just really a story about the importance of family, and I just really love how Kiryu has just grown and matured over his 6-7 adventures now. He wants to leave that Yakuza lifestyle behind. He wants to take care of his daughter. He wants to, lead his orphanage that he founded, but unfortunately, the life just, leads him back in once again. That's number 6. Now number 5. I don't even feel like talking about this. I feel like this game has been talked about so much, but is The Last of Us Remastered. Boom. And there's really not a whole lot to say here. 99% of you guys, there's like 5 people watching my videos, sadly. All of you guys have either played this game or watched somebody play this game. It is one of the greatest PlayStation exclusives of any console, any PlayStation console in my opinion. Debuted on PS3, was really well received. Got a remaster on PS4 really quickly. There wasn't much for me to say, but one thing I do have to say is I could understand if you don't enjoy this game, or you find this game to be a bit generic or easily predictable, something like that. I don't think, the characters and their dynamics aren't really new. You have, the father-daughter kind of slowly growing together, Joel and Ellie. Not a new trope at all, but I do think it was done really well. I love how the post-apocalyptic setting and the zombies or clickers, whatever you really want to call the infected, they're not even the main focal point of the game. The main kind of driver of the game is the characters. And one game that I believe does that even better than Last of Us, have it right here in this really terrible, it's terrible. You can't even tell it's Days Gone, but yeah, next game is Days Gone. It's in this terrible GameStop case. Horrible. This is the most slept on, underappreciated game of 2018. Probably the most slept on PS4 exclusive, in my opinion. Now this game does drag on, at certain points. The second act really kind of unnecessary in my opinion. But I think the third act is just such a good payoff. It redeems just any sort of doubts, any sort of lows you had about the game. I think it was done so well, dude. I absolutely love this game. Like I was saying with The Last of Us, the fact that it's a zombie game has absolutely no bearing on the story at all. The characters, their morals, their relationships with each other, those are what drive this game. I absolutely love that. Do not go into this game thinking it's just going to be shooting zombies, killing zombies like that old ass E3 video clip. I'm sure you guys have all seen it. This clip was shown everywhere because Days Gone took so long to come out, but it's not like this. It's not like this at all. Surprisingly, I didn't have a hard time putting this game ahead of The Last of Us. That is how strongly I feel about it. One more time, show you guys that GameStop case. You can't even see it really, but oh my god, dude, I hate these cases so much. I hate these cases, bro. Moving on to number 3 though, we have Marvel's Spider-Man. I did turn the case inside out. This is kind of the alternate artwork if you want to see it. Spider on the back. Man, of all the games on this list, I think Spider-Man is just the most fun you're going to have in this game. Tetris Effect is fun too, but Spider-Man is just so fun. You don't have to take this game seriously at all if you don't want to. You could literally swing around the city, looking at the environments, looking at the monuments, taking pictures, looking at collectibles, and you could still have fun. Even if you don't know anything about Marvel's New York and some of the unique monuments you're going to see in the world, some of the stories behind the collectibles, you will still enjoy this world. And if you do understand the comic references, you will enjoy the world even more. Now, as far as the story is concerned, it beats out almost all, if not all, superhero movies that I've ever seen. And I think I've seen almost all of them, at least from Marvel. Absolutely beats them hands down in emotional impact, in my opinion. I've always been a firm believer that Spider-Man is best done either in comics, in a TV show, in an animated TV show, or in a game. I don't think movies are really the best medium for Spider-Man. And I think this game is just a perfect example. I think this game is better than MCU Spider-Man, better than Amazing Spider-Man, better than Tobey's Spider-Man, or Raimi's Spider-Man, whatever you want to call them. I think it takes some of the best elements of all of them and puts them together in just one awesome package. This Spider-Man is funny, he's brave, he's adventurous. This Mary Jane is a better Mary Jane than any movie depiction. Honestly, she's better than almost any Mary Jane depiction I've ever seen. She's not just a simple sort of story element for Spider-Man to come and rescue like some depictions. Just overall, I think this is just a definitive portrayal of Spider-Man and his world. And even if you don't like superhero stuff, play this game. Play it. Now, boy, number two is God of War, another I'm so glad they're able to find a way to continue Kratos' story and have him evolve even further as a character after, like, what is it, 6-7 adventures now? In this game, he's taking a new role. He does it really well. He's taking the role of kind of a seasoned father, kind of a mentor to Atreus. Pacing of the story really enhances the progression of the relationship between Atreus and Kratos. I also enjoyed the combat. I do wish there were, a couple different animations, maybe 1 or 2 different more enemies, but that's just the only little nitpick I had. Besides that, it is a must-play game, guys. Just the story, characters, everything. I could say that about almost every game on this list. Story, characters, gameplay, but this game, really, I really mean it. It's a really great game. It's a pretty good game for not having a jump button, right? Now, I actually really don't want to do honorable mentions. I might kind of save that for another video. I might do I don't even know, that would be an awkward video, like not my top 10, but let's make a video about 20 to 11. That's kind of awkward, right? Number 1, guys. Number 1. My favorite PS4 exclusive. Well, let's hold these two up at the same time. As you can see, my number 1 is Persona 5 Royal, but I also do have this with me because I'm going to talk about this and why this is not number 1 in a second. This is actually weird to me having Persona as number 1 on my list because this isn't even my favorite Persona game. It's actually my 3rd favorite Persona game, but I do think that P5R, Persona 5 Royal, is the most complete experience that I personally could ask for on the PS4. I really loved everything here, from the story, which you could say had a little bit of wasted potential, but I guess, that's an opinion as well that I've heard. But anyways, I personally enjoy the story. I love the characters. I love all the environments and all the dungeons. Even the menus just have so much style. You've probably heard the word style so many times when people talk about Persona 5, but man, it's really true how just stylish this game is. There is no boring menu. There's no boring transition, no boring dungeon, no boring enemy. It's just such a well-crafted experience. And now for kind of the reason I showed you guys the vanilla Persona 5, I personally don't think the vanilla Persona 5 would have been number 1 on my list. I think it would have been probably number 2 or 3 on my list. And to not spoil things, the added royal content kind of fixed a character or two, expanded upon the themes of the first game, or the base game rather, really well. There is an added 3rd semester to the game that, man, I think has some of the best kind of elements of any Persona game. Some of the best sort of ethical struggles you're going to find in a Persona game. If you guys don't know, Persona is a spin-off of the Shin Megami Tensei series, and that series sort of prioritizes morality and the choices that you make. And I think that the added content Royal really kind of brought that back. It was what modern Persona was missing, and it really brought that back from its roots. The combat was also improved on heavily from the base game. I'm personally a big fan of turn-based RPGs. Maybe you guys aren't, but if you guys are, but haven't played a whole lot of games, I think that, sort of as a gross oversimplification, this is sort of like Pokemon on crack. It is currently July 2020, and this game sits at a 95 Metacritic, which is the best game of the year so far, and I believe 3rd or 4th all time on PS4. So that just shows how much people have grown to love the series. It was kind of slept on throughout some of the earlier Persona games, but I think it's finally getting sort of that mainstream success. Yeah, man, my mouth is getting dry. Oh my god. So yeah, guys, that is my 10 favorite PS4 exclusives. These are not necessarily the best PS4 exclusives, not even the best PS4 games. There are definitely some third-party games that may beat out these games. I might make a list on third-party games. New video idea. I'm gonna write that down. So just please remember, this was an opinionated list. I would actually really love to hear your guys' opinions on not only my list, but some of the games you guys thought should have been on this list. But that is all I got to say. I've been talking long enough. So please, if you guys enjoyed the video, Make sure to like down below. I know there's some of you guys that are watching this video that are not subscribed. Please do that, please. You guys do not want to miss those lists, so I will see you guys. Peace.